right, Song of Songs. So I didn't my initial thought about this as I read the first page was I wasn't gonna have much to say. It was just a song, a poem, a back and forth a bit. But then, I felt that there was a lot more. Um my overall feeling on this whole thing and why it's in the Bible when it's very lustful, very passionate in a romantic level, is that there seems to be an importance on romance, passion, desire um, that needs to maybe needs to be present in order for the soul to ignite in a way that it can have passion and love for our neighbors, ourselves, and the way that we we go about life. Even God Himself. You know, um, it's like you know a recipe. It's like you can't do curry without turmeric. You know, you can't do you know Puerto Rican food without adobo. You can't do Cajun food without salt. You can't make a gumbo without celery. I think that passion and love and desire, those elements are ingredients. Is this promoting lust? No, not necessarily, because lust is normally the desire for something you can't have or you shouldn't have, right? But there is something unlike anything else, that butterflies in your stomach, that desire that you have, the passion that you have for another, the love, the blinding love that you have for another, that it's a great ingredient. Now, is it a great ingredient for everything you do in life? No. I, for one, always say there's no emotions in business. Of course there's emotions in business, but I don't drive myself with emotion when it comes to business. I drive myself with lots of logic when it comes to business. But to love my neighbor, to have passion for other people, to have empathy for other people, to desire the best for other people, yeah, I think the element of being in love has ignited an area in my heart, an area in my soul that has enabled me to be that way. If I was a person that had never been in love, that had never felt that passion, that had never felt that love for a woman, then I don't know if I would have the other emotions, if I had the other strong feelings, because I feel like the passion, the love, the desire for the other has has developed that muscle within my soul. So my personal conclusion in this book being here, um, right after, I don't even know if Solomon wrote this. It says Solomon quite a bit, and it starts with Songs of Solomon. The name is, you know, Song of Songs, Songs of Solomon, but it, oh, Song of Songs, but it says this is Solomon's Song of Songs. It's it's very odd that the passion and the love and there's talking about one woman, one man to them. He has 700 wives, 300 concubines. It, it doesn't match him, but it does match the wisdom that the last few books, Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, has. So this kind of overflows in that same wisdom. So maybe It's talking about love in the aspect of the wisdom of love. You know, I don't know. This is how I'm taking it. This is my rendition to it, and I believe that this is very much in the middle of the Bible, a little forward than the middle. Maybe for that reason, so we could understand, and exercise this muscle, right before we go into this. We didn't really need that muscle back there, in the beginning. In the beginning, we needed a lot of rationalizing. We needed a lot of, no emotions. I think from here on out, it's emotions is a big part. Love is a big part, and passion is a big part. So I think this is getting us ready for that. Again, I'm not past this, but this is my guess, and I think this is where, in this big gumbo, this is the time that you put this seasoning in it. Because every time that you make, let's say bolognese, you can't just put everything together and just let it, sit for 8 hours. You gotta do this stage, this ingredients, wait 20 minutes, these ingredients, wait an hour, these ingredients, wait 2 hours, these ingredients, and so on and so forth. And I believe that Song of Songs is the time for this ingredient in this big pot of gumbo, in this part of the journey. And that's how I take it. Um, I there's some parts like the finest apple tree in the orchard. It's my lover among young men. And there's a lot of that shows, to her he's the only one. It shows where he's caring, he's the protector, he takes care of her in every way. He's brave, he's stout. You know, um, I also notice in one that it shows that, she's waiting for him. He did not show up. She goes out to the city, and I made a note that says men sometimes go astray, but women rescue their men and get them in the proper path of love. And I believe that in over here it was just the same thing. Um, she had perfume dripping from her fingers, and she jumped up to open the door, and she opened the door, and he was gone. Her heart sank. She searched for him, and again, I read a note on the side that says, "Men have short-term heart memory and go astray." Yeah. And I think that that's a lot with men. Not saying that women are not the same, but women are very much an emotional being. I believe that women have much more love capabilities of a man. Now, does that mean that a woman doesn't have the capabilities of going astray and a man doesn't have the capabilities of having strong love? No. I just think that, you know, it's easier for men just because, and I mention it through here. Um, a woman looks at her lover through the eyes of the heart. A man is weak for her beauty, a woman for his love. A man in the descriptions over here, it talks a lot about her beauty, about her outsides. When it comes to her man, she does that too, but she also speaks about his stoutness and she describes him deeper, and her emotions are definitely more genuine emotions, as the way he describes her are very much with the eyes of beauty, the eyes of lust, the eyes of desire, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it shows that he's weak for her beauty. At one point he says, "Turn your eyes away, for they overpower me." He can't even look at her, because it makes him weak. But her, when he goes astray, she says, "If you find my lover, tell him I'm weak with love." and that's where I see that he completes her. The man here doesn't. He's all about the one woman, but it doesn't feel like she completes him. He's looking at her like a precious gem that he takes care of and he loves having, but he goes astray, and she has to go find them and get them back. 3:5. Promise me, O woman of Jerusalem, by the gazelles and wild deer, not to awaken love until the time is right. So this is the second time I see this. I believe I saw it a third time in this short book, and I put second time mention seems like a warning not to force love or take it upon your own accord, i.e., simply lust or want to please. Love is wild and free. Let it happen on its own accord and time. That's what I take that for, being that it was repeated 2 or 3 times. Um, the mention of the gazelle and the wild deer, I feel like they're saying that the love is wild, not to awaken love until the time is right. I feel that, many women want to keep a man, many women want to please, um, many women are just in a lustful moment, and they give away that love, that beauty of them. Um, Now, why isn't a man looked at that? I don't know. Maybe because his love is not worth that much. At least the act. We don't hear about the virgin men. We hear about the virgin woman. So this is a warning, a, a, a request for a promise for a woman, to not give it up too early, too soon, for no good reason. Wait, let it awaken when it's the right time, and when it's right. Um, and here is, after I got almost done with the book, I put something about passion, romance, desire that needs to be present in order for the soul to be at its full potential in matters of life, other people, and God. And that is my overall judgment of summary, um, of Song of Songs. This is, I think it was the right time for this seasoning, the right time for this part, the right time to introduce passion and romance and love and desire, and that it's when you think from here rather from here. Here's where everything else, in the beginning of the Bible, and we'll see towards the rest of the Bible. But it's been with the mind, listening to orders, taking orders, and just being very methodical, very very direct about things. Here I feel like they added the seasoning because I'm pretty familiar with the rest of the Bible. I'm gonna read every word by word, um, and talk about each book. But I feel that this is a turning point. This is a good turning point, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken in the next few books. I'm not super familiar with Isaiah, being that it's a big book, and like most people, in teaching and learning the Bible, we've been taught piece by piece by piece. And when I'm reading it word by word, verse by verse, chapter by chapter, and whole books from beginning to end, my eyes are open in a whole different way. I love quotes, but a quote tells a story based on what you're trying to tell the story on at that moment, or what you're going through in that particular moment. Hence why, some people get something different every time they read it, because they're at a different stage in their life. However, I don't think that's necessarily the way to study the Bible. Um, I'm 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 glad that I learned the Bible. Um, I just think that I would have learned it better this way. Now, Would it be scary as heck had I been taught the Old Testament chapter by chapter without, knowing the rest? Yes, it would have. And maybe because I don't live in an ancient time, maybe going chapter by chapter on the New Testament and then going to the back to the Old Testament, maybe that would have been an easier way. Just to know that there was light would shine later. Um, and that may be the reason. It might just be because you wouldn't entice people to follow um the beliefs of the Bible had you went word by word, chapter by. I mean, it's scary. It's downright scary. It's very confusing. You get a lot of mixed emotions, mixed feelings. You get a lot more questions than you have answers, and teachers don't like ending with more questions than answers. I mean, teachers like giving the answers and saying this is it. And it ends with come away, my love, be like a gazelle or a young stag on the mountain of spices. So to me, that that is very open ended, and I turn the page and it's Isaiah. So it finishes. Oh, look at my. This is my page marker, one of them. And you see it says Gabriel Perez up there. This is a painting that he did, and we bought a coffee mug and a couple, bookmarkers and a couple little things. It's kind of cute. It's a picture that he made into a bookmarker. Um, so to me, leaving it open ended like that says that you know love is open ended, relationships are open ended. Come away with me is it says it's a journey. It's a journey. It shows that in the journey, sometimes we go astray, and sometimes we need to be rescued, and sometimes we need to rescue the other. It shows that sometimes we see with the eyes up here, and sometimes we see with the eyes from here. And I don't know if one or the other is better, but I think that's why a woman and a man complete each other. For the fact that one sees one way, the other one sees the other way. Many a times my wife has stepped into maybe the way that I'm raising my child at that specific moment, and I see her loving being, you know, intervene without saying anything to me or anything negative, and I get it, and I'm like, oh, here's where I step off. Here's here's where she gets her way in, and my way needs to take a rest. And why is that? That's the importance of that is because we complete each other. We're not the same. And not being the same is not doesn't mean not being compatible. Being compatible is, do you guys make a good team? A warrior and an accountant are not the same. But if I have a boxing business, I need a warrior and I need an accountant. I need a marketing manager. I need a promoter. I need all these people that are very different, but we become compatible for this business. So, two warriors are not going to make a business very well, unless one of the warriors has other aspects, strong aspects. Um, so, somebody with my mentality and looking at things the way that I look at them, um, might not be compatible for me in love and relationship for the rest of our lives, and raising children, likely not. Two of my wives, likely not. But my wife and me, yes. We're compatible. We're a team. Um, we could run our household better, more efficiently, and we're better for our children because we are different, because we look at things from a different point of view. And it's a journey. We would never stop learning each other. We would never stop growing. And a journey doesn't have an end. This journey doesn't have an end. You know. And to me, that's my rendition of Song of Songs.